shepherd's pie. It is a potato-topped, savoury meat pie, essentially. So, shepherd's pie has, as the name would suggest, minced lamb or ground lamb. If you were to make this with beef, it would be a cottage pie. Now I have the majority of the ingredients laid out here that I will need. Over to this side I have a pan with some diced potatoes already, but I do have a couple more here that I need to peel and chop so that I have enough mashed potato to top the pie. The other ingredients that I have are some peas, some carrots, onion, garlic, tomato puree, Worcestershire sauce, flour. I also have some mint sauce because I like that in a shepherd's pie. And I have some salt and pepper, and later on when I'm making the mashed potato and topping the pie, I will also get a few other ingredients, but I will talk you through those as we go. So sit back and relax, and we will get started with preparing the vegetables. So, as I said, the first thing I need to do is just to peel some potatoes. I hope you're all doing very well. This is going to be my and my family's dinner for tomorrow, but I will also be having this tonight, so I can give you a little bit of a taste test. The great thing about this meal is it does reheat really rather well. I'm just going to take these. Yeah, so this meal reheats really well, and it's Saturday evening when I am recording this, so this will be our dinner for Sunday. So just put this in the pan with the other potatoes that I've already chopped. And there we go, just one more now to chop. The only problem with this knife is where it's got quite a long belly on it. It does tend to stick when chopping potatoes. There we go. So that is the potatoes all done. And the next thing I will prepare is just some carrots. These are already washed. So once I've peeled them, I probably won't wash them again. It's only a bit of mud. Okay, so they're peeled, so I'll just take the top and the bottom off, place that to one side, and top of that one, and the bottom of that one. Right, now I need to just chop these carrots, and I'm going to aim to make these about the same size as the onions will be when I'm cooking, just just for consistency, but I probably won't do that great a job. I always find cutting carrots a bit of a pain. They take longer than other vegetables for some reason, but I'm just going to give these relatively, well, not a fine dice, but just dice these, and depending on the size of your carrots, you may not need this many, but where a lot of our pots and pans and things are actually packed up at the moment, so the only dish that I really have which is suitable for cooking this shepherd's pie is probably a bit big for the amount of ground lamb that I have. So I don't mind using a little bit more in the way of the vegetables to just help kind of pad it out. And it never hurts to have more vegetables in a meal, especially for the kids. So there we go, just cutting them into kind of sticks, which will make it easier to dice up in a moment. And it doesn't have to be perfect, just relatively diced. Well, yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect, so. There we go. I think that will be enough. Nice little pile of carrots, and these spares can go to the dog. The dog will eat anything, so. Okay, the next thing is onion. Now, these are rather small, so I've got 2, but we want maybe around the same amount as the carrot. Usually 1 medium to large onion is enough. There we go. Just chop this one in half as well. Just peel this. If the outside layer looks a bit brown, then you can always take an extra layer off, but these ones aren't too bad. Got a bit of the root on my hand. And I'll just take this skin off as well. Take them. There we go. I'll clean this up in a moment. So maybe a little bit of something. Okay, let's just get rid of that. And then just again a similar kind of dice size as the carrots. My knife isn't as sharp as I'd like it to be. So it's taking a bit more effort than I would like to get through the onion. And I like to just, when I am cutting, I like to just angle my knife towards the centre from the outside. Just, I feel like you end up with less kind of bits of onion to the core that haven't been cut all the way through. And I don't bother doing that. I tend to find that it's fine like that. So and I don't know, is crying good ASMR? Is there an ASMR crying niche? said, I need a bit extra anyway to account for the fact that the dish that I'm serving it in is quite big. So there we go, just put this in the old bin. And the last of the vegetable prep, because these are just frozen peas. Yeah, they require no prep. It is just a bit of garlic, so I'm just going to chop this up. Okay, I'll just, yeah, we can probably use two. And they've just been kind of, sliced. And I'll just chop this a bit finer. I think I'll add it at the same time as the onions and carrots, just for simplicity. We're not looking to really brown the carrots or the onions, so the next thing that I need to do is I need to brown off the lamb. So I'm going to do that now. Set the pan to pretty high heat, and then I'm going to add a small amount of oil. Not much, because the lamb is actually quite fatty. And we'll just wait for that pan to come up to heat, and then we'll add the lamb. In fact, no, we'll add the lamb now, just so I can break it up a little bit, and we'll get some of those nice cooking sounds before it gets a bit too lively. So, yeah, this is just 500 grams, or a pound, just a tad over of lamb. There we go. And I'll just place the bowl to one side. So we'll just give this a bit of a break up, and it should start sizzling. And the goal really is to actually brown and caramelize the meat. You don't want to just let it boil. You want to get some of the Maillard reaction on there, which is an actual kind of chemical reaction, which really does change the flavour and add colour to the final dish. So it will kind of release a lot of water at first, and then after that it will start to fry and go nice and golden brown. So I will do that. Once it's browned, I will show you the next step. So the lamb has now cooked off nicely, and I'm hoping you can hear me over the sound of the frying lamb. It's nice and caramelised now, so nicely browned. Some fond on the bottom of the pan, and that should add a nice depth of flavour to the dish. And I'm just going to take a slotted spoon now and remove the lamb and just put it to one side. I'm not sure if you can see, but I'm trying not to make any lamb fat go all over the place, but the actual kind of caramelisation on the lamb, that's what you want. So, as I said, the next stage is for me to actually fry off the vegetables. So I'll just turn the heat back on, because I turned it off just at the end there, and I've also already put the potatoes on, because they're going to need to cook as well, ready for the mashed potato topping. So I'm just going to take the vegetables and just put them straight in. And we might lose a few on their journey into the pan, but we'll collect them. We won't let any get away. And the pan still has quite a lot of residual heat from the lamb, but as the water comes out from the vegetables, that will subside a little bit. And because of the amount of water in the vegetables, what I'm going to do is just get the garlic off my hands, and I am just going to give it a bit of a base season with just a bit of black pepper and really I kind of just want to draw out some of the moisture from these. I'm going to be careful not to add too much because I will be adding Worcestershire sauce and stock as well, so I don't want to over season at this stage. I will address the seasoning as we get kind of closer to the assembly of the dish. And now, as I said, I'm not trying to brown or kind of get any colour on the onions or the garlic, but because of the amount of water in there, at this stage I can turn the heat up quite high and just, as long as they keep moving, they should cook nice and gently and just soften. That's what I'm trying to do, take some of the water out and soften the vegetables, and then we can move on to the next step. So I will go ahead and cook these. It will probably be about 5 minutes or so to soften them down to where I want them, and then I'll bring you back whilst we do, I'll bring you back to do the next steps. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to add the lamb back to the pan. And give that a bit of a mix. And some people will skim or take some of the excess fat out, but I don't mind it really being in there. And when I add the flour, it will help just kind of keep the flour from sticking too much and burning. So the next thing for me to add is some tomato puree. So I just have some tomato puree here, and it's roughly 1 or 2 tablespoons depending on how much tomato you like in there. So just 1 or 2, so that's maybe 1, 2, that's enough. And just place that back to one side, and I'm just going to give this a couple of minutes to cook the tomato puree a little bit, just to make sure there isn't any of the kind of acrid, bitter tomato puree taste. I don't know if it actually sticks around, to be honest, if you don't do this, but I've always done this, just giving it a minute or 2 just to cook off slightly, and just to kind of incorporate it with the carrots and the onions and the lamb. And I think that should be enough. And the next ingredient is I'm just going to add some flour. Now, this is optional. I like to add it just to give the kind of the sauce, the gravy, a little bit more body. Just, that's a dessert spoon really, it's not It's not even a full tablespoon. Bit of a mess. And again, I'm just going to cook that out for a couple of minutes to just get rid of the kind of the floury taste. I suppose with the lamb fat, we've almost made a bit of a roux, and that will just help thicken the gravy, or the sauce that kind of binds this all together. So again, just a couple of minutes. At this stage, you can add red wine or white wine or just water to then kind of deglaze anything that has stuck to the pan. Nothing is stuck on this occasion because, as I said, there's quite a bit of lamb fat in there, but you can add red wine or white wine, and that will help balance the acidity. I am adding mint sauce to this though, slightly later, and this already has vinegar and it's quite a sweet sauce as well. I'm not sure if this is particularly common outside the UK, but I will be adding that instead because I love the way the mint sauce and the flavour of the mint pairs with the lamb. It kind of really reminds me of that Easter time of year, which is perfect, seeing as though we're going into autumn. But that's what I'll be adding to balance the acidity. Otherwise I'd be using probably a red wine to add some sweetness as well. But there we go. So just going to just stir that around, and that should be long enough. So the next thing I am going to add though is Worcestershire sauce. This isn't optional, this has to be in there. And again, I'm just going to add, this is a dessert spoon. It's the same one I used for the flour. And I'm just going to add, it's one or two of these. Depends how brave you're feeling. So that's one. That's two. And then again, just giving that a bit of a stir. And I could probably have done with adding a bit more flour, but that's okay. We'll just have a thinner gravy. There we go. So that's all incorporated. So the next thing I'm going to add is just some stock. So over here I have some lamb stock, but you can use any stock you want, vegetable, chicken, beef, but I'm using lamb because I really like the flavour of lamb, so just put that straight in. There we go. And as you can hear, that's quietened the pan down quite a lot. And what I'm going to do now is just give that a stir. And honestly, at the moment, it's quite watery. But what I'm going to do is simmer this for the next 20 minutes or so. Just keep an eye on it. Make sure it doesn't drop too low. And once it's hit the right consistency, we will then season it. We will add our mint sauce, and then we'll start to bring this all together. Hopefully that will give enough time for the potatoes to finish cooking as well. So I'll be back in a moment. So that has been about 20 minutes and it's thickened up nicely. I always prefer my shepherd's pie to have a slightly kind of stronger and less watery sauce, a bit thicker. So now what I need to do is I'm just going to add a bit of salt and pepper, because I know it's going to need more than the amount that I added towards the start. I do, in general, have a tendency to season my food quite a lot. So that's just a bit of black pepper and then just some basic table salt. This is maybe 3 grams, maybe something like that, just to start out with. It may well need more. There is already salt in the Worcestershire sauce and the lamb stock that went in, and I did add maybe 1 or 2 grams when I was cooking the vegetables, so it may be enough, but just a bit of seasoning. And then, as I said earlier, the next thing for me to do is I'm going to add some mint sauce. So you can see the potatoes over there are just simmering away nicely. So yeah, I do love mint sauce, and this is, yeah, it's quite sweet and acidic at the same time, and the mint flavour goes great with the lamb. So I will add just a dessert. I'm going to add more. Might seem like quite a lot, but I may well need more than that. I won't know until I taste it, so let's just give it a mix through, and it immediately changes the aroma to a great combination of lamb and mint. So just stirring it around. Now there are flecks of mint just scattered through. The rich, savoury filling. I say filling, it's not really filling, it's a base. It's not a traditional pie, I suppose, in that it's encased in pastry. But there we go, so let's just give that a stir. So that should be all of the ingredients mixed through, and I can turn the heat off of that now because it doesn't need to reduce anymore, so I'm just going to give it a taste test and see what it's like. Okay. I suppose the only problem with me cooking this today is I've had a cold this last week. It may have been COVID, so I can barely taste anything. So I'm going to go in with more mint sauce. This is dinner tomorrow, and if I make a miraculous recovery and it turns out that I've over minted this, then oh well. But I do like that nice, fresh, acidic, sweet mint flavour with the lamb. So there we go. That is the main kind of part of the shepherd's pie. I don't think it needs any more seasoning. I think it is salty enough. So now I'll give it one more taste. I'll use heat's off. So, and the potatoes are cooking. So the next step for me to do is to put that into a dish ready to be baked, or you can grill it as well, but I'll just get that now. And with the move currently delayed, a lot of our utensils, or mainly kind of like the cooking containers, are packed away, so it's not ideal. This is, I think, a bit too big for the amount that I'm doing, but oh well. What I would actually usually do is just leave it in this, throw mashed potato on top, and then put that in the oven. But because it's for a video, I figured I would put it in a separate dish to try and make it look a little bit more aesthetic. So I'm just going to take this and whoops, try not to make too much noise. I'm just going to take the whole lot and put it all in there. You might not be able to see it, but I just want to make sure that I don't leave any in the pan. Ouch. I'll just take this over to one side, and we're just going to spread. Place it there. This is heat safe, so it should be fine. I'm just going to spread this around, and it is a bit shallow. It's not going to be the deepest filled shepherd's pie I've ever made, but that should be enough. Just give it a spread around. It's an okay layer. It will be a bit higher after I add the final part of this filling. There we go. Oh, there's some more on the spoon. And then yeah, the last thing for me to add is just some peas. You can have it with a. You can obviously put these on the side instead, but I find my children are more inclined to eat the peas if they're mixed in with everything else, so that's what I'm going to do now. Now they have to really try to avoid them if they don't want them. There we go. And these are just frozen peas, just throwing straight in, because it's all going to go in the oven anyway. Might as well throw the rest in. Whoops, probably too many, but there we go. So that is now ready for the potato topping. So I'm just going to put that up there. The potatoes are cooked, so I'm just going to go and drain them. Then I will mash them, and then we will put the topping on ready for the oven. So I'm just going to add some salted butter first. And I'd usually use a knife, but I haven't got one, so I'm just going to use a spoon. And I like quite a lot, so I'm just going to put it straight on. Oh, get nice buttery hands. This is quite a lot of butter. There we go. And I'll just let that melt for a moment. Here we go, so some butter. I'm going to add just a little bit of whole milk just to loosen it up a little bit. And I'm just going to add a good amount of salt and pepper again. There is already some salt in the butter, but not enough. That'll probably be enough pepper. There we go. And then the only thing left to do is mash it. I might cut some of this out because it's going to be quite aggressive. And having just mashed this up a bit, I've tasted a bit and it's not seasoned enough, so about the same amount of salt as before should be enough. And I like to whisk my mash just to remove any lumps, although it's not really necessary with this meal because it all mixes together and that is inherently lumpy anyway, but I'm going to do it. There we go. So just put that there and remove the whisk. Okay, now it's time for assembly. So we'll take this. There we go. You can pipe it, but I tend to just use a couple of spoons and just put it straight on top. The mash is, as I said, it's a little bit on the lumpier side, but that's okay with this meal. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just rustic home cooking. Oh, there we go. And just need to keep going and putting it on top. I always tend to overdo the mash and underdo the filling, but it's good for making the meal filling, so just keep going. And as I said, it's quite a big dish, so there's lots of space. And I should say, if you've watched this far, well done. This is probably 30, 40 plus minutes in at this stage. But if you've watched this far and you're enjoying the video and you're not subscribed, then please do. We are starting to approach that wonderful mark of 10,000 of you subscribed to the channel, which is amazing. It was around this time a year ago. Many of you may have watched the first video that really did well on the channel, being the British sandwich video. So yeah, almost a year later, coming up on 10,000 of you. Thank you all. So that's a good layer so far. I'm just going to spread it around a bit and try and even it up. Fill any gaps. I can imagine it makes quite a nice sound. Almost like spreading butter on bread. There we go, just keep going, keep going. And I'll use all the potato actually, which is a surprise. I thought I did too much. aside from the finishing touches. So the final thing I'm going to add is cheese, which again is optional, but it does make for a much more delicious shepherd's pie. So I'm just going to grate a good amount of cheese on top. And you kind of want to cover the whole thing in a good layer. And it might make a bit of a mess over the rest of the board, but that's okay. Just a good layer of cheese on top. This is just some cheddar cheese. It's actually quite a mild one, which I don't mind, but a sharp cheddar works just as well. A good layer of cheddar cheese all over the top. Then the final thing is I'm just going to give this another dusting of pepper, so that it just got a nice warmth to the cheesy topping. Nice black pepper flavour. There we go. So this is going to go into an oven at around 200 degrees Celsius, which is, I don't know, in Fahrenheit. And then, yeah, around 20 minutes, 25 minutes until it's all golden brown and bubbling and delicious. And then I'll give you a quick taste test. So, see you in about 25 minutes. So you can probably hear it's just bubbling away. It looks fantastic. See, it's golden brown and so hot that the tea towel is still not protecting my hand from the heat. There we go. Golden brown. Let's see if I can get a close-up for you. Nice and golden brown. Hopefully it doesn't pour out. Okay. Now, anyone who's had a shepherd's pie or cottage pie before will know that it's very unwise to eat it directly from the oven because it's one of the hottest things known to man. But I'm going to do it because it's now quite late and I need to have some dinner. So all the cheese has gone nice and crispy, so I'm just going to serve myself up a good portion. And then the remainder will be dinner tomorrow. And as I said, it reheats really well, so let's see if we can get this to come out reasonably well. The answer is no. Just put it there and get the rest. It's a bit of a mess, but lots of green and orange and good colours. And it's a very kind of nutrient-dense meal, lots of vegetables in there, so just get the rest of this portion for myself. And that is going to be enough for me. There we go. Lovely, so I'll just put that over there. And I'll just give you a taste and let you know what I think. So I've got all the filling underneath, and you can see all the flecks of lamb sauce under there. I'll get a bit with a bit of cheese if I can get through it. There we go, that's good. A bit of mashed potato. And this is probably going to burn me quite badly, but we'll go with it. There we go, that's a nice little bit. I might put this down while I try and cool it down. It's probably wise that I spend at least 10 seconds letting this cool down, this piece that I'm going to try. Still too hot. It is delicious. It's so warming and savoury. The peas, they've just kind of cooked through, so they've still got a bit of a pop. The carrots are nice and sweet, a little bit of mint in there, and the cheesy topping is sublime. So, if you've never had it, go ahead and try it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. A little bit different in that I've actually recorded all the prep and everything like that. Let me know if you enjoyed. Comments down below.